This is K.O.P.A,
The roar, the pride,
brothers in boots.
we stood side by side. We built the league, we built the name. We played for love, not fortune or fame.
This is K.O.P.A.
Our hearts are song, the spirit leaves, it's never gone.
Hello, welcome to another episode of This is K.O.P.A. Stel's here, Mike is here. Mike, we have another special guest. Bring him in, young man.
We do it, young man. Thank you. Yeah, we do. Jack Markou's here with us today. Jack's got, he's worn many different hats with K.O.P.A, especially towards the end of the league. Jack has been a player. He's coached in the league. He's been the registration secretary. That'll be interesting to chat about. He was chairman as well, and still very active. Whenever we have our five-a-side tournaments, Jack's always involved in getting that sorted. So, Jack, welcome and thanks for joining us on This is K.O.P.A.
Hi guys, great to be on here. Again, what I think you guys are doing is absolutely superb. I've seen the previous episodes. I think it's a great thing that you guys are doing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So let's just dive in, Jack. How did you first get involved with the K.O.P.A League? Which clubs did you play for? And what made it special for you back then?
I mean, it started. I mean, I left university 21, 22 years old. Got to London, had to find a club to play for because I was always football crazy, even from back then. I started playing with Haringey Athletic in the Haringey District League up Furs Lane. So I played with them for 3-4 years. And then a good friend of mine, Charlie Predios, for a while was on my case, come and join Pantel. I'd never really heard much about Pantel at the time. He told me the story. And as soon as I'd heard the story, I knew 2 or 3 of the boys that were playing with them as well at the time. I thought, yeah, why not? It helped that they'd just been on a Cyprus tour as well over the summer. But yeah, so I started playing for Pantel. Probably it was around 2004. I think it was 2 or 3 years after it was formed. And I played for them ever since. It was the only club I've ever played for in K.O.P.A. It was an honour to play for Pantel. Made friends, family, if I can call them now. I mean, Little A's gone through the Pantel story. Mel Andrea, Pedro, God rest his soul, which we'll talk about later when it comes to K.O.P.A. But yeah, friends from back then, I mean, still friends today, still see people still out and about, drinks, dinners, parties. It's been absolutely superb, as well as other K.O.P.A players from other teams. But I think that Pantel connection has always been strong. And even now, over the years, I've started managing a kids team from this season, which we've got under the Pantel name as well. So it's good to see the Pantel name still going strong.
Oh, he's muted. He's muted.
Schoolboy
error.
Apologies. So back then, obviously playing for Pantel, we know the Pantel story, the glorious, beautiful story of Pantel from Andy. Who were the teams that you enjoyed playing against? Teams that you didn't want to play against, or individual players? Give us some stories.
Yeah, look, when I first started, I mean, with Pantel, I mean, it was 2 divisions in the league. We were in the 2nd division, so and it was pretty competitive back then. The 2nd division, we weren't really playing the big guns week in, week out. You know what I mean? The Salamines, the Anorthos, the Abuels. But the 2nd division teams at the time were teams that weren't out to basically win games and make a name for themselves. It was more for the community. It was a community. They were community teams. They were teams of friends that just wanted to play football under the Cypriot name, under the K.O.P.A name, get out on a Sunday, friends, family, have fun and enjoy it. So it was competitive, but it wasn't a win at all costs scenario. We had, I mean,
Who were these teams? Who were these teams? Tell us about some of these teams, because we've heard about the great AL teams, or Monia teams, and the Anothoses, the Salaminas, and they're obviously great stories and historic stories. But this is a great angle. Which were the teams that you would
look,
as community teams?
There were teams like Achna, there was teams like Livatia, which joined the league. St. Panteleimon joined the league back then, before they went semi-pro later on. These were the teams that, it was friendly between the teams as well. There wasn't that aggression that you heard about in the K.O.P.A League for the years gone past, and the fights and it was friendly before. It was handshakes at the end. I mean, I think I was lucky again with Pantel. Pantel had that respect from all the other clubs as well. They knew what Pantel was all about. We had Melanie, Vasulla, Robert, Andrea making teas and coffees and bringing cakes to every single game. Whatever the weather, rain, sleet, snow, other teams came to play us, and we never really felt that animosity that you hear about sometimes in the K.O.P.A League, or that I can hardly remember many altercations, fights, or anything when it came to us, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later on regarding things like that in the K.O.P.A League. But for me, it was enjoyable. It's like what Little A said in the last, and what Tony Ponu said. The whole week led up to that Sunday back then. We were looking forward to turning up on a Sunday, seeing our friends, people on the sideline, young, old, people that have followed K.O.P.A in years. And it was a great community spirit. You just turn up. The games, if people were injured, they'd still turn up. They'd want to be involved. And the faces that you saw were legendary faces from the past when it came to K.O.P.A, turning up week in, week out, watching games, even in the second division. It didn't have to be a Salamina v Anorthos's top of the first division game. Even the second division drew a lot of people to watch games.
Before I pass you over to Stel, if we fast forward to when you finished playing, because you got involved behind the scenes with K.O.P.A, you know, I'll say behind the scenes, but front and center with the committee. Tell us about that transition.
It was Pedro that it was on my case. Blah, 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 Joe, you've got to join the committee. We need young people in the committee. You've always been involved with K.O.P.A.
I remember that conversation.
Yeah. So, I mean, I used to go to the committee meetings as a Pantel representative anyway. So myself, Mel, Andrea, as captain, I was captain for the team for a bit and then managing the team for a bit. So I used to turn up to the committee meetings, and so I saw what was happening, what it was about. And it was at the time, not being rude, it was an older committee. And there was a lot of talk about people saying, look, we've got to get some youngsters in. We need fresh ideas. People talking about politics behind the scenes. So Pedro finally managed to persuade me to join. So I joined the committee. And then pretty soon after that, I was made registration secretary. So I was involved in the behind the scenes work pretty early on. I mean, if we want to talk about registrations now, we can do, and the nightmare behind that. But it wasn't easy to start with. There was a lot of, and again, I think we might talk about this later on. And I've used the word before, animosity between the clubs. It was meant to be always from the start, meant to be a community league, a Cypriot league. And I think one of the issues that did start before I joined even, I mean, I've heard the stories. I think that community spirit just left because of people wanting to win too much. I mean, I saw that through my years playing on the committee, registrations and chairman. And I think that was the demise. That's what really took K.O.P.A down in the end.
So for people who are not familiar with the league, with the process, take us through briefly what the registration secretary does. What was the point of your role, and how did teams have to go through you? For what reason?
So yeah, registrations. I mean, K.O.P.A used to have a pretty strict registration policy. I think at the time there were a certain amount of players that you were allowed to be registered. Firstly, I think it might have been, I can't remember, maybe 20 players that you were allowed to register, or 22 players. Maybe, actually, no, sorry, more than that. It was 20 something players that you were allowed to register. So every club had to fill out a form. They had to get a player's photo, email address, telephone numbers, and those forms for a player to be registered had to be with me as registration secretary the Thursday before the game. So players had to be registered before the season. We gave a deadline before the season, probably about a week or two before, a couple of weeks before the season started. 95% of the clubs gave me the registration forms, and this is all paper forms back then. So this was before really mobile phones, cameras, WhatsApp messages, and it was all paper forms. So I used to stay behind at the office nearly every single Thursday night.
I bet you saw some great handwriting as well.
Oh, mate, for managers and coaches to come and drop off the forms, because they had to be at the office in my hand by Thursday night to register by the Sunday. Now, the other reason we had registrations, I mean, for ID purposes, so everybody used to get a card, a K.O.P.A card with their name and photo on there, was the gentleman's agreement that the clubs had for the non-Cypriot rule. So when you registered as a player, there was a little box that had to be ticked, whether you were Cypriot or non-Cypriot. Now, at the time when I first started, I'm pretty sure it was 3 non-Cypriots in a starting 11.
It was.
Yeah. So it was 3, and it got increased to 4 whilst I was it when I was chairman? I can't remember the exact date.
It went up to 5, didn't it?
And then it went up to 5 right at the end. Now, as registration secretary at the time, all the players had to do was tick a box, whether Cypriot or non-Cypriot. And then it was down to myself to question if somebody was or wasn't. Then I had to then ask for ID, because on the form they also had to put their parents' nationality as well. But if I got a name Ian Smith and it was ticked as Cypriot, then I'd then have to go back to the club and say, well, please show proof that you're Cypriot. I think the Cypriot, I'm not going to say rule, because it wasn't a rule, it was a gentleman's agreement between the clubs. I think that's what caused one of the biggest headaches in the league. And again, towards the end of the league, there were clubs that didn't abide by it because it wasn't an actual rule, because the FA said we weren't allowed it as a rule. It was an actual gentleman's agreement between the clubs. And towards the end of K.O.P.A, clubs decided to play 5, 6, 7, 8 non-Cypriots, and then turn around to us as K.O.P.A and say, well, go to the FA if you want. You can't do anything about it. When the other club would say, well, we're sticking to the agreement. And then they would come to us as K.O.P.A and say, hold on a minute, this club played 7, 8 non-Cypriots, what are you going to do about it? And when us as K.O.P.A said, well, we can't dock the 3 points, we can't give the points to you because it is not a rule, that is the time when it all started really going downhill.
It did start to unravel. I mean, I know
Yeah, it seems.
there's cup games as well. I remember cup games latterly. So
Yeah,
even
it
a cup
seems a
final
small.
recently. Yeah.
It seems a small point, but it really did affect the league a lot. I mean, the behind the scenes stuff that we used to get. I mean, we used to have K.O.P.A committee meetings nearly every single Monday night when I was chairman. And that was at my office, again, staying late at the office on a Monday for K.O.P.A committee meetings. And most of the meetings were either disciplinary or to talk about this Cypriot, non-Cypriot agreement. It did really take a lot of time and effort to deal with.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, blimey. Jack, I want to take you back to your opening comments, mate, about when you joined Pantel and how you were asked by a mate to play for them.
Mm-hmm.
You said you said you came from somewhere. Where were you before?
I was at Haringey Athletic, which was in
Right.
the Edmonton District League. Yeah,
Right,
so
okay.
I had some friends playing there. So when I got back from uni, I jumped straight into that.
Okay.
Played
And you joined Pantel, what you said, 2003. So that was what,
2004, I think. Yeah,
Sorry,
2004.
2004.
Yeah.
So that's what, 29 years after the league was created.
Yeah.
So obviously you being a North Londoner, knowing people within the community, were you fully aware of the league and the history of the league, what it meant to the people, how it created, etc.?
I was hardly aware of it at all. I'd heard of it in the background, but I wasn't really, I'm not interested in it, but I hadn't heard too much about it. Even before uni, I mean, I was out of London for a few years, got back from uni, and I wasn't really aware of how big it actually was when it was first formed until a few years in. And then you hear the stories about the old days. Then you start seeing the photos from the old days, and you start hearing about the crowds and how popular it was. But back when I first joined, no, I wasn't really that much aware of it. I never had any family members that really played. I mean, I think my cousin Jack played for a club back in the day. But yeah, my dad wasn't really involved with it. I didn't have any uncles or anything like that were involved in it. So there wasn't much that I really knew about K.O.P.A. And to get involved into it so early on, joining the committee, registration, then chairman after that, was it was good to do. It was an experience. Again, it's helped me, I think, be the man that I am today, going through it all.
It molded you.
It did. Because like I said, I mean, it was quite a few years I was involved, and it took up so much time.
Mm-hmm.
It did take up a lot of time. I mean, we always said on the committee, this is like having a full-time job. And none of us were paid. It was all voluntary work. But yeah, it did take up a lot of our time, and sometimes unnecessary. There was so much that was unnecessary, but it had to be done. It had to be done.
I can imagine. Well, the reason I asked this question is because one of the core reasons why we started this podcast is from a selfish perspective. I'm still learning about the league itself.
Yeah.
And there are many people that I know that have competed in the league or taken part, whichever way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, again, I didn't know much about it. I saw the back of the Barigi, which my mum's friend used to have. We'd go around there first thing in the morning. She'd give me my Kit Kat, when I was a kid. And she'd show me the Barigi, and I'd look at the back. I'm like, oh, okay, there's something called the K.O.P.A League, which I, again, wasn't too interested in, not going to lie. Yeah. And then obviously LGR would discuss it with Costantino Rossi every Sunday. He'd talk about it. And then obviously people such as Mike and other friends that would compete. But again, I didn't know too much about it. So hence the reason why I asked you that question, because, you came in pretty late in the league's I guess, creation, you know, and you played for Pantel, who were a fairly new team. So I was interested to know how much you knew about the league, and then you went on to effectively do what you did, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I fell in love with it pretty quickly. Like I said, it's like what I said when I first joined Pantel, the years that I played it, like I said, the community spirit back then, and I think it was extra because of Pantel, and I think that's why I could have never.
I was going to ask if it was at any other team, would you have felt that way about the league?
Yeah, I don't think I would have been. Like I said, I think we had something so special. I think we had something so special. I don't know if I would have lasted so. I mean, I ended up playing for years. I mean, I was playing, managing. We were, I mean, in early 40s, still playing for them. There were times that we couldn't put a team out because of injuries, and we were struggling for players. And on the Thursday night, luckily I was registration secretary. Sometimes it might have been on the Friday or Saturday. We were signing some of the old boys, the original boys, just to get a team out on a Sunday, and they would all say, "Yep, I will play." We played Salamina in a game. I think we lost, I don't know where it was, 9-10, 11-0, with a bunch of old timers. But because it was Pantel, we would never have turned around and said, "No, we're not playing this game," or "We know we're going to get beat, we're not going to turn up." We'd rather turn up, show up, whatever the score was, and say, "Yeah, we've managed to get a team out." I think that's what made it different, and that's why I think I fell in with love with K.O.P.A so early on, and stuck with it, because of teams like Pantel. We weren't the only ones. There was there was other one of the teams I mentioned. Like, I mean, I remember Maronites were one of the teams. Were unfortunately, I mean, the second division cup. I think it was Michael that passed away, and we
That was tragic.
in Thailand, and K.O.P.A, we had the second division cup in memory of Michael Tavani. That was another club that was always a second division club, but was there playing as a family, as a team, as friends. And I think that's what helped the league back then. And it was when clubs started getting a little bit silly with payments of players, and that we can talk about in a bit. I know it's always gone on, but it's when that started getting silly, and it went from 2 divisions to 1. That was it.
Yeah. Well, the other question I have is the importance of winning in the K.O.P.A League. Was it the bragging rights, or was there a financial benefit to winning? Because look, for me, it was just a Sunday league, but it's not the FA Cup, it's not the Premier League. You're not going to get millions or thousands or whatever. Was there a financial incentive for winning trophies?
There was no financial incentive. I mean, you hear the stories of back in the day, where the boys used to sit in the Guffin Inn and play their tavlin, and used to get the Salamina boys, the Omonia boys, the Albuel boys, and they'd always be talking about their club, and they wanted to be top dog back in the day. I know teams want to be successful, and I know there's always been talk about payments of players, and back then, I think, like I said, I've always heard some players have been getting paid some money to play on a Sunday. The amounts that I heard that were being paid to some players, again, allegedly, yeah, were silly amounts to play on a Sunday morning. And this is where the disparity happened between the top clubs and the lower clubs. players were being financially rewarded by some clubs. So some clubs are saying, look, come and play for us and we'll give you X amount a week. You're talking about 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old boys. If they're being offered 100, 150 pounds a week to go and play 90 minutes on a Sunday morning, they're not going to say no. So the lower clubs were losing these players to the larger, more financially stable clubs. And it was happening, whether people say, nope, it wasn't, or some people are saying we were paying for travel, or we were paying for the players' boots, or it was happening. Payments were being made. The lower clubs were losing their best players to the better clubs. And a lot of clubs folded because of this, because they were losing their better players. Other players were saying, well, what's the point in playing now? And clubs started folding because of it. And again, what I mentioned earlier, as soon as it went from 2 divisions to 1 division, and then you've got the top 2-3 clubs. I think we had 8 in the first division when it went to 1 division. You've got 2-3 clubs at the top, and then you've got 2 or 3, 4 clubs nearer the bottom, and the teams at the bottom getting spanked 8-9-0 every week. How long are they going to last? How long are they going to say, okay, we'll carry on turning up, playing on a football, playing against players that are getting paid to play? And again, I knew as my time as chairman, as soon as we went down to 1 division, if we didn't get it back to 2 divisions within 2 years, K.O.P.A would be finished. And we discussed it as a committee. We discussed it with the teams. We were trying to get new teams in. But I knew if we didn't get back to 2 divisions, then the bottom teams would just say, well, enough's enough.
Jack, out of curiosity, and I'll let Mike speak afterwards, I promise. But just out of curiosity, when did you notice that the allegations of players being paid, or how shall we say, reimbursed for their boots and all that, when did you notice that was happening more frequently? Do you know roughly what year it was?
Look, when I first joined and we were in the 2nd division, I mean, we didn't really notice it because it was very tight games when I first joined 2nd division. I mean, I think when I joined, any team could beat anyone in the 2nd division. And there was a year we got promoted to the 1st. And we saw the difference in standard. But you always heard behind the scenes, oh, this club's paying X amount, this club. I personally know quite a few, at least 7, 8, 9, 10 players that were getting reimbursed very well on a Sunday morning. We were very lucky as Pantel. We never had any players back then leaving to join. Later on, when I was managing Pantel, there were 2 or 3 players that left us because they were being reimbursed by other clubs, and they told me that directly. And they weren't telling me to say to me, well, I want you guys to reimburse me, because they knew we wouldn't. They just said, look, I'm getting X amount and there's no way I'm not going. And it wasn't just Pantel it happened to. It was most of the lower level teams that used to play the better teams on a Sunday. These players would be spotted, and then after the game, someone would go up to them and say, look. And as much as the top teams will say, no, we didn't do that, they did. Whatever anybody says, they did, because I saw it in front of my face as well. And again, you want to be a good team, you want to compete, but the way some managers, some teams went about it was just totally wrong.
Well, look, my line of questioning has already opened Pandora's box. I'm going to let Mike jump in.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to take you back to your administration time, and just want to ask, were there any funny moments or crazy moments or registrations or stories where, I mean, you mentioned if you had an Ian Smith, you had to go and investigate whether they were Cypriot or not, but are there any that, obviously without naming names or clubs, we can share with us?
There's a few. I mean, one that springs to mind, and I got reminded of this a couple of weeks ago because it popped up on my Facebook feed as a memory. As Pantel, we were playing a team. I won't mention who, and we had a player for us at the time. He captained the team for many years, Jan, and Jan was a bit ginger. Yeah, he didn't look Cypriot at all. His name didn't look at all Cypriot. He scored the last minute winner against the team in question. So as Pantel, we won. I think we won 3-2 or 4-3 that game. And I was registration secretary at the time as well. I was also managing Pantel at the time. And I got an email the following day saying there is no way on earth that this guy is Cypriot. Please, can you look into it? So I emailed back saying, please explain. And we got an email back saying he's got ginger hair. That was the email that we received back. So I had to send as proof a copy of his passport, his full name, his parents' birth certificate, his parents' birth certificate, to show that he was an actual Cypriot player. And it's things like that in the K.O.P.A League, the trust issues that were going on. I used to get emails nearly every week as registration secretary, saying, check this player or check that player, or is this player Cypriot, or is this player non-Cypriot? Nearly every week, I used to get emails. And as a registration secretary, I had to take my time out to reply and show proof, etc., etc. When it comes to, I mean, funny stories, I mean, as registration secretary, not really, it was a pretty boring job to do. Very time consuming and very boring with cards and stuff.
I'm telling you, you've got some handwriting stories. There's got to be someone with dodgy handwriting.
Oh, I mean, the handwriting. I mean, look, there was a year that I received. I think I received 20 registration forms at the start of the season from 20 different players, and I think every single signature was the same. I think every single one was it was the same signature. So I've gone back to the team and I've said, "You're having a laugh."
It wasn't an X, was it?
Yeah, it was a scribble. And the thing is, the whole form was filled in. I mean, everything was exactly the same writing for 20 odd players, and even the signature exactly the same, nearly every single one. So look, it was things like that you were like, well, hold on a minute, have a bit of respect for us, have a bit of, we're doing all this for the clubs, and you're giving me 20 forms with players, which one person has signed for 20 players.
Jack, I think do you think that's because as well?
Yeah, but do you think that's because like over the years people were doing that, and the previous person or the people before you were just like, no,
I don't know. I mean, Nick from Livadia was doing registrations before me, who was Livadia manager at the time. And the day that I took over, I think he gave me one of the biggest hugs ever. Um, yeah, and he was like, "Thank you so much for doing this." He helped me a hell of a lot to start with, and told me the process and everything. Because again, he used to have people. Because I was doing, I mean, he was registration secretary when I was managing, so I know what it was like having. I was going to his house, dropping off paper, and that was just me, and that was people dropping stuff off to his house day and night. So I can imagine what that was like for him. For myself, I was lucky enough. I told everyone, look, just drop everything off at the office. If I'm in the office, hand deliver it to me. I'll put it through the letterbox in the office. So I didn't have people coming to my house day in, day out like Nick did.
I think I met Nick for registration once at a supermarket car park.
Yeah.
And once a cinema car park in Enfield, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
One was really late on a Wednesday or Thursday, just before the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think I signed both of those ones.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike, incriminating himself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I used to have clubs calling me up on. I mean, the deadline was a Thursday night. I used to have clubs calling me up on the Friday, on the Saturday. Jack, do me a favor. Jack, I need this player signed. Jack, do me a favor. Jack, but I just couldn't, because like I said, I used to stay late on a Thursday night at the office because everybody had to have a registration number, and it was a different start to the registration number whether you were Cypriot or non-Cypriot. Right. And I had my spreadsheets for all the clubs, and I had to. It was a nightmare. So if I didn't do it on that Thursday night and somebody gave it to me on a Friday, Saturday, it was impossible for me to do anyway, because I was like, well, hold on, I've got to go back to my spreadsheet, I've got to log on, I've got to give you a number, etc., etc. So, but yeah, the amount of calls that I used to get on a Friday, Saturday, Jack, yeah, well, please register this player, register them, and I was like, well, no. I mean, I don't even think, honestly speaking, I don't even think I did it for Pantel when I could have just done it like that if I wanted to last minute. But we were pretty strict on that when it came to registrations. Yeah.
Jack, without mentioning any names, what was the most, how shall we say, interesting registration you had to go through?
Or transfer, because you've been involved in transfers as well, right?
Regarding registrations, again, I can't remember the name. I think there was a player that was banned from K.O.P.A for a while. And I can't remember how many. I mean, this was, again, before I was registration secretary, before I was involved. And the club was trying to sign him. And other clubs were complaining and moaning. And then we had to go back and check, well, how long was he actually banned for, etc., etc. And again, it was, I mean, I think he'd been banned years and years and years earlier. And I remember that taking up so much time as well, for not just me, registration number, but for the committee. The meetings that we had to have we had to have with the player and the committee, and just for one player to be registered, because it caused such a, so it was like, no, it was unbelievable. Just one player. It was, some of these things were a nightmare to deal with. And again, it was because of, it was a trust thing between the clubs. And I keep coming back to it. That's what, again, when we talk about the demise of K.O.P.A, it was a trust thing between the clubs. And on that point, I mean, I'll go on. When I was chairman, and we had constant contact with the FA, I mean, the FA used to call me as chairman or the secretary, and say, we've just had a call from X club from your league, putting in a complaint or an appeal against other from Y club from your league, saying maybe that this player shouldn't have been playing or wasn't registered, or etc., etc. So rather than those clubs coming to us to say, look, there's an issue, have a look into it, or they were going directly to the FA and dobbing the other clubs in. And again, a lot of that was just trying to cause trouble, because most of it, nothing actually happened. There was nothing there, but most of it was just to put the other club in trouble.
But this goes back to what I was asking before. Like, what's the incentive? What you put
yeah,
them into
yeah,
trouble, which
I
means
totally agree.
is
Look,
it easier for them to get promoted if the other team isn't?
I get you. Maybe because because I wasn't playing for a Salamina or an Abuel or an Rothosis or one of the great clubs. I didn't really get it. Like I said, there was nothing there to say, okay, we've won the K.O.P.A League, or we've won the league, or we've won a cup. I really don't understand it. But the animosity between some of the clubs, it was horrendous. The stuff that I'd heard going on. We had Salamina winning the All England Cup, which was a great achievement at the time. And a lot of us went down to Crystal Palace to watch it. But there were clubs that were jealous of them, that wouldn't go to watch them, saying, well, why should they? Well, etc., etc. When it was probably the biggest achievement for a K.O.P.A League side. There were clubs that were jealous of them for doing it, instead of getting behind, saying, look, this is an actual achievement for K.O.P.A. We've won the All England Cup. And the following year they played in Sheffield. I think they lost on penalties. They lost the second year. And then they went on to do bigger and better things. But there was a lot of jealousy behind it. And again, that's going back. I don't know whether it's part of the Cypriot, I don't know, culture thing where
ding ding, Hector Salamanca, ding ding, right? and look, sorry to say this, I know a lot of people are going to get on my back for this, but Sikime, right?
Yeah,
I think that is the major problem, not just for the K.O.P.A League at the time, but for our community in general, because there is a lot of backstabbing going on, and there's a lot of buru. So I don't know whether it's just like a jealousy thing, or it's just a politics thing, or it's, this one's got the Mercedes, so I want the Bentley. I don't know.
Look, I think, and it's like what you said, we'll get stick for saying it. Yeah, we're Cypriot. I'm a Cypriot. I love being a Cypriot, community, family, etc., etc. Yes, but yes, I do think over the years people have become. I don't know what it was like before, but there is that jealousy thing going on, and it did happen in the K.O.P.A League. I've played against clubs, with clubs, the Jewish League.
Yeah,
the Maccabi League. When you look at what they've done compared to what K.O.P.A could have done over the years, K.O.P.A should have been and could have been bigger and better than the Maccabi League. But even as chair, when I was chairman, and we were trying to get sponsorship for a cup final, yeah, £200, £300, £400, £500, and we're emailing people, and we're talking large organisations like Cypriot organisation, we would hardly get a response. If it wasn't for Pedro Michael in the last couple of years, 2-3 years, I think K.O.P.A would have finished a lot earlier than it did. Firstly, because of the coverage that he gave to K.O.P.A, along with the newspapers, Mike Yagumi, Miko, Parigiagi, fine. I was having a look a few days ago. I went onto Facebook and looked at the old K.O.P.A League posts and the football magazine posts that Pedro used to do. Pedro used to go from business to business to business to business to business, trying to raise money for K.O.P.A. Yeah. And yeah, he used to get something, but nowhere near as much as we could have. He had to basically go and beg for money instead of people coming forward and saying, this is a Cypriot community football league. We'll put a bit of money towards it. We'll do this. We'll do that. We can build. It never happened. It never ever happened. Even when we were really struggling for sponsorship for, I think in the last few years, the one sponsor I remember that came for a few years, Winchmore Brickworks, helped us out a little bit. But there weren't people coming forward to say, there you go, I want to see, even just for a cup final. We struggled to get £500 sponsorship for a cup final. And again, it's going back to what you're saying, this Cypriot, let's work together, let's get together, let's do something.
See, what you just said encapsulates the word community, but we're not a community, bro. I'm sorry.
Look, the community thing, look, I'm not going to dismiss it, because look, even now we do the K.O.P.A Vets five-a-side. We do it every 6 months. It's been absolutely superb. The guys that turn up, that community spirit is sort of there. I mean, friends turn up, family turn up, the older older generation. Yeah.
Right.
The younger generation might be a little bit different now, etc. But I think the K.O.P.A thing, that we're still keeping the name alive through that, and what you guys are doing again, absolutely superb. I see it, but it could always be a lot better with more people helping, coming forward, and
I mean, you see it with the Greek schools. The Greek schools are struggling to get sponsors for specific events. So this is what I'm saying. Like, there's so many of us. So many of us. But okay, maybe times have changed, and perhaps I'm just living in a fantasy world. But I just think we should be much more tighter than what we are. But anyway, I digress. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, it can be difficult to sponsor a cup final or a league or events when you're paying thousands to some Saturday Step 5 footballers to play on a Sunday, right? Anyway, yes.
There you go.
Right. So, Jack, talk to us about K.O.P.A at the time when you were chairman, and yes, there were 2 leagues within a league. You've mentioned that, and then the decision to say, do you know what? That's it. We can't go on. How difficult was that? Because I was involved partly in being pulled in to try and keep it going. Lots of us younger people at the time were to try and keep it going. But how difficult was that? Especially because you were the chairman at the time, right?
It was really difficult. I mean, look, I was chairman. Yeah, I think it was 2019. I think, remembering, it went down to 1 division, and again, that's when we increased the non-Cypriot, because again, we used to get so much about the non-Cypriot rule, and that's what was holding K.O.P.A back. We used to hear it all the time. It was the non-Cypriot rule. If you open it up to everybody, then it will grow and it will get better, etc. And it was there were 2 split camps between that, even in the committee, even in the community. People were saying, no, it's a Cypriot league. It should be kept as a Cypriot league. If you open it up for everyone, I might as well just join the Barnet League, because it's exactly the same. What's the point? And then you had the other guys saying, no, I was as chairman, as a committee member, I was always with the thought, no, we have to keep some sort of an agreement there, because again, it's like we said, otherwise everybody might as well all just get up, join the Barnet League, and play there.
But teams did that anyway, right? So
teams did that in the end. In the end, anyway. Yes.
So in hindsight, if we abandoned this gentleman's agreement, would we have kept the K.O.P.A League as Cypriot teams more so than predominantly Cypriot players?
We will never know. We had a vote. I think we had 2 votes on it. And again, as a committee, we couldn't make that decision. We left it to the clubs to make the decision.
I remember I was there.
It was always the clubs that were voting on these things. So as a committee, we would always bring things forward, at meetings, we never actually made any final decisions about anything. It was always the clubs that voted. And the clubs did vote to keep the agreement in place at that time. And yes, we went down to the 1 division. And again, it's like what I said earlier. I knew that if we didn't get to 2, and then we had a few meetings, and I stepped down as chairman, and Kip came in, who was absolutely superb for a few years doing stuff. I mean, again, the time and effort that he took in his time as chairman was unbelievable.
I mean, Kip's still the chairman of K.O.P.A.
He's still chairman now. Yeah, he's still officially the chairman now. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you'd seen, I mean, hats off to him. If you'd seen the amount of crap that he went through just in his short time, when the league was actually there, I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, things that we had to deal with the FA, especially. And again, I'll say it. I won't name names. I won't name clubs. K.O.P.A was accused of being racist by one of our own clubs. So one of our clubs went to the FA, called us racist because of the non-Cypriot agreement, gentleman's agreement, and we had to deal with it. And to deal with something like that with the FA took months and months and months and months. We had meetings at Wembley with them. We had to go down there in the evenings, meetings, emails, correspondence. Unbelievable amount of time that took. And that was just to keep the K.O.P.A name going and to keep it clean, as it were. In the end, yeah, nothing happened. They said, yeah, okay, everything's fine. Because we didn't have it it wasn't an actual rule. It was a gentleman's agreement that we had, but we had to prove to them over and over and over again and go through all this, or Kip had to. We were helping him, we were in meetings. But it was unbelievable amount of time that he spent on this, especially with our full-time jobs that we've got as well. And again, it's like what I said, doing all this as volunteers to K.O.P.A was unbelievable.
How do you disprove the rumors, though? What process, what protocols do you have to go through?
Well, it's just proof to show that. Well, it's, again, being called a racist organisation, yeah, because we're a Cypriot football league. Again, it was just dealing with the FA and saying, well, no, we're not. Look at who we do have playing for us. Look at come and watch our games. Come and watch our fans. Come and watch. Yeah, look at this is our registrations are done like this. Yes, we do have an agreement in place, but it's just an agreement. But this is where I was coming. This is where one of my first points that we were talking about. In the end, clubs started taking the mick because they knew they were getting away with it. And Mike, what you've said, that the downturn, that's where it going with 1 division and then teams taking the mick by playing as many non-Cypriots as they wanted. That was it. As soon as we had our first 2-3 meetings, because clubs used to come and say to us, look, this has happened, this has happened, and we couldn't do anything about it, and clubs knew we couldn't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. That really, that I think that was the nail in the coffin. Or
but you will remember, I guess it's an infamous meeting now, one of the last meetings with clubs where we're discussing want to move forward, and unfortunately some things were said that shouldn't have been said, and really that was the end of it. If hopefully you know which meeting I'm talking about. People are aware. Well, no, can't really say too much. Don't want to implicate ourselves or myself. But it got to the stage where winning meant everything to some people.
Yeah.
To the point where it didn't matter if there was no league.
And
So
this is exactly what
almost,
Still was saying earlier. Yeah.
yeah, what we, as an economist, we call that the tragedy of the commons, which is, yeah, you do something which hurts yourself.
Yeah, and this is exactly what Still was asking earlier. What was it for? Exactly what was it for?
And then ultimately, a lot of these teams have ended up in the Barnet Sunday League. And the Barnet Sunday League is thriving
Yeah.
because of teams that could have, should have, were in K.O.P.A. For example, on Sunday, I went to watch Pantera versus Omonia Youth men's. So that's two teams in one division. Great game, really enjoyable, lots of familiar faces. The top 5 teams in that championship, which is a second tier, are all from our community.
Yeah.
The top 5 teams in that division.
Mm.
So they could have all been a K.O.P.A team. And then you got a couple in you got a couple in the divisions above and below. There's a division there. There's a league there.
Look, I think there's a league there. Again, it's about the competitiveness. The first few teams that went to the Barnet League were because they knew that. The Barnet League had 8 divisions at the time. They knew they were going to start in the 7th, 8th division, and they were going to be able to compete week in, week out, and then they were going to find their place in the pyramid.
Yeah.
That's how it works, and that's how it should work. But because they were in that one division in K.O.P.A, and
no, I get that. But what I'm saying is that in the championship division this season, there are 5 teams.
Oh yeah, look,
and when you look at those teams, there's a lot of Cypriot players, a lot of community players in those teams.
I think we always said the K.O.P.A League was very, very, very strong. Yeah, the teams in the K.O.P.A League were very strong. Even the teams at the bottom of that first division,
they were good teams.
They were good teams. They would be able to compete. Yeah, probably maybe not in the first division of the Barnet League, but second, that they would be able to compete. But there was a gulf between the top 3, 4 and the bottom 3.
Oh, at the end, that's exactly
massive gulf,
massive, huge gulf.
But yes, the teams that are playing in the Barnet League, look, good luck to them. I'm happy that they're continuing the Cypriot name in the Barnet League and doing well. Yeah, I'm glad K.O.P.A didn't just finish and then these teams disappeared and were forgotten about. I'm glad that they're in the Barnet League and I'm glad they're doing well. Whether K.O.P.A would ever come back, I doubt it very, very much, Mike. And again, I say that because at the time, even when I was chairman and we were trying to get the youngsters involved in the committee, we wanted, again, new ideas. We needed help. We needed... It wasn't coming forward. If a K.O.P.A League was formed again now, who would run it? Who would do the running around? Who would take time? Yeah, it's not easy to do. I would love for it to happen. It would be absolutely superb. But who would take that initiative and say, "Okay, let's go ahead."
Put this: if there was money in it, someone investing in it, maybe 2 or 3 people. Maybe if one of these, I don't know, people that own buildings in London that live in Monaco. One in particular might want to put some money into it. I'm just saying, it wouldn't be a bad thing. And here's the other thing, just all jokes aside, right? The Cyprus Football Association are actually sending analysts to the UK to look for British Cypriots that qualify to play for the national team.
Well, that's good to hear. In my time as chairman on the committee, I know we had some good communications with the Cyprus FA. I think a lot more
when K.O.P.A was in charge.
Yeah, a lot more could have been done to help us. Yeah, I know there was a lot of talk backwards and forwards, and then things never materialised. And then we had the whole COVID thing happening, which was right in the middle of it, which definitely didn't help.
Because that's when Hellenic TV started streaming games, isn't it?
Yeah. That was great as well. Things like that, and then everything suddenly just stopped. And then once it starts on that slippery slope, it's very difficult to get it
Yeah.
back up and running again. Once one or two teams say, "Okay, I'm going to the Barnet League," or we're folding, or it was very difficult to keep it going. But again, I would love for it, absolutely love in the future for there to be a K.O.P.A and have, and then the question would be, would you have the non-Cypriot agreement?
Maybe we need a K.O.P.A Cup and just invite these clubs who've got an affiliation, or maybe we need some sort of, just to keep the name going, because the vets can only go on for so long, right? These old legs can only go on for so long.
Yeah, I mean, look,
like a pre-season tournament, man.
Yeah, look, we've spoken about it. We'd spoken to clubs about this. It's the 50-year anniversary of K.O.P.A this year. We were trying to organise something at the Hive at Barnet to try and get clubs together to do a day of barbecues and old teams and clubs. We contacted a few, not much interest. And unless we get that interest from the off, then we can go and start booking things and start spending money. I mean, getting some money in and sponsorship and doing something big. But unless we get all these clubs saying, "Yeah, let's do it," it's just getting one or two of them to say, "Yes, I'm in." We can't do it. It's a shame, because even last year we were looking at doing something for the 50-year anniversary this year, which never materialised.
That said, though, Jack, the community did come together, because you and I played on the same pitch recently, where for the Danny Bailey benefit match,
absolutely superb,
and that was excellent. We had all the veterans from Salamina and Omonia. We came together, and still, by the way, Jack scored a cracking goal that night.
It was
a cracking goal.
Which foot? Though?
Right foot. Right foot.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a beautiful goal. But so it can happen. We can do it.
It can happen, Mike. But then some teams are struggling to get a few players on for the vets five-a-side, when there should be a lot more interest in that. We're getting teams, but I think.
Yeah, I get that. So maybe it could be the Omonia and Salamina who've got those bigger associations and got that historic, affiliation with K.O.P.A. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Omonia v Salamina, but we can get, we had what, 2 squads of 25, 22, 20. It was
brilliant.
It was amazing. Yeah. Let's get down to the Hive. Let's celebrate K.O.P.A's 50th. Let's get some people. Let's have a dinner. Let's put a program together. Let's celebrate it. It shouldn't just be me and Stel on this podcast inviting people like you and so on and reminiscing. Maybe we should be looking forward and celebrating the past, and with a view to the future, and seeing what can we do to keep the name going.
Well, look, K.O.P.A is still alive, which is good. Yeah. We still have a committee, which we meet up every so often. We will be having another chit-chat meeting. It'll be great to have you guys come to that, especially after all this, the insight that you lot have had over the last few weeks from different people. Just to get your views, because you guys have probably heard more about K.O.P.A in the last few weeks than most people have in their lifetime.
Well, Jack, after next week, I think everyone in the community will know about this podcast. That's what I'm saying for now.
Yeah, I hope they do.
Oh, believe me, they will.
Yeah, I hope they do.
They will.
But like I said, I think it's absolutely superb that you guys are doing it. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
So Jack, last question from me.
We've got some photographs on it.
Oh yeah, let's do the photographs first. Go on then.
Let's go.
What have we got?
Let's go.
Go on then.
Okay, so this one, myself and Kip in our later years, Pantel were very short of players, so I had to play in goal, and Omonia were very short of players, and Kip had to play. And believe it or not, I think he scored 2 past me. Great. I'll tell you what, they were great finishes as well.
Kip's a great player. Cripps,
Oh
one of
yeah,
one of the legends of the
absolutely
one of the
superb.
legends of K.O.P.A.
But yeah, I mean, you got to think, I mean, he was playing against 20, 21, 22, 23-year-olds. I mean, the young Pantel team. And yeah, he managed to score. I think it was 2 that he put past me. I'll ask him next time I see him. But yeah, that was great, just to show that, look, Pantel might have not have been able to put a team out if I hadn't played. On Monia, I think they had a bare 11 players. If Kip hadn't stepped forward, on Monia wouldn't have been able to put a team out. But we were like, no, the game's going to go ahead. We're playing. We're registered. We'll play.
If I remember rightly,
Kip
played with his son as well in that game.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah,
That's incredible. See, this
Yeah.
is what this league did, you know, father son. I mean, if it happened in the Premier League, people are like, oh my God, this one played with this one. And that, it's like when was it Ashley Young is it Villa? Was it Everton?
And his son was he a
And his-
Q.P.A?
Something like that.
And he didn't come on, did he?
Yeah.
There was a hoo-ha over it.
I mean, before I forget, still on that, I mean, when you talk about father and sons, I don't know whether you've seen the book, the 40-year anniversary book.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've heard of it.
Give me a shout. I've got a few copies left because
legend.
remember,
Thank you.
I mean, it goes back over 40 years. I mean, there's photos, stories, everything, and there's also I think there's 5 or 6 pages that show dads, sons, grandkids all playing, with photos for all of them. I mean, there's been so many generations that have played.
Mate, it's incredible. Like Giggs messaged me today, right? And he sent me a photograph of Omonia against Omonia in Lefkosia back when Gaiafa was playing. So there's Gaiafa. And he showed me this photograph and he goes, back row, third from the end, is Bradley Johnson's dad. He played for Omonia out here. So I've got a mate that knows Bradley Johnson. So I messaged him. I said, look at this photograph. Send it to Bradley Johnson. Say that's his old man. He's like, yeah, I'll let him know. It's crazy. Like these things,
crazy.
Man, up.
But give me a shout and I'll get you a copy of the book. I mean, you will absolutely love it. Yeah.
I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, that's incredible.
Mike, I'm sure Mike's seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's
incredible.
Superb. There's a lot of memories in that. A lot of memories.
Lovely. Well, there's another one here, man. Another one for memories.
Right. Yeah, this was when I said earlier, and you've just reminded me, and when I said Pantel, I also played with Brotherhood for a while. So for a few years.
Is that Andy at the bottom?
Yes, Andy Blackby. Yeah. Our mate Fidget. Andy was a good player. Great left foot.
We had a. I mean, look, this was a very, very good team. I mean, at the top, second on the left is Chris. That's who's refereeing now.
Yeah, we now ref in the Barnet Sunday League together.
Yeah, he's refereeing now, which is absolutely superb. Bottom right is Reyes, who unfortunately passed away a few years back as well. Reyes used to play for Pantel and Brotherhood. Unfortunately, he passed as well a few years ago. And a few years back, we had the Brotherhood Pantel memorial game, little pre-season memorial game for him as well. But yeah, this was a bit later on in my career playing for Brotherhood, and then Brotherhood went Barnet League and did very, very well.
Is that Joe at the top? No, it's not Joe. Sorry, looks like Joe next to Dougie. No, it's not.
I don't know.
No.
Mario Christou.
Mario. Yeah.
He when I was manager of Brotherhood, he was my captain.
Yeah, I mean, look. I mean, the good thing is some of these boys. I mean, like Chris Tank. I mean, they still play 5-a-side week in, week out. And believe me, I've still got it. I mean, Brotherhood won the over 40s K.O.P.A tournament, the last one out. It was good memories with these guys. It was really, really good fun.
Blimey, incredible. Right, there's another one.
This was going to Wales when Cyprus played Wales a few years back when I was on the committee. We organised the coach We thought Cyprus playing Wales. Let's go off to Cardiff to watch the game. And it was a really good day out. There was quite a few of us. Going. I think that's when Luggy was chairman at the time.
Yeah, I was there as well. I went as well.
And got Mike Yagami, got Gogo on the right. Yeah, it was a really, really good trip away. So yeah, it was a good thing. I mean, just being involved with the K.O.P.A committee to be able to do stuff like this. This was one of the highlights. I mean, we still had to pay for our tickets, but yeah, it was one of the let's chill and go and support Cyprus in Wales for the day. It's really good.
All right.
Look, this one I had to put in. This was the Pantel Cup final that we played. I think Little A spoke about it when we played Rizzo Gaspaso in the final, and we beat them 1-0. And I have to mention the goal that was scored by Ian Rubin. Otherwise, he will never, ever, ever, ever forgive
Rubes.
me. Yeah. Wow. It was a wow goal.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, look, yeah, this was a great team. I mean, look, it was all in memory of Paul. Like Little A said, Paul was there with us that day. I mean, especially I think in the last minute, the ball hit the post, hit the bar, hit the goalkeeper, hit a defender. How it stayed out, I have no idea. But this was for Mel and Andrea and Thomas. The way we played, I mean, we were underdogs. I mean, when we say underdogs, we were. But yeah, we managed to pull off a 1-0 win. And the one thing I remember about this game, going into the changing rooms at the start, Rizzo Gaspaso had Eye of the Tiger playing full blast in the changing room. And still to this day, whenever I hear that song, it reminds me of walking into that changing room with Pantel, saying, listen to them, listen to that, right? And let's go out there and show them what we're made of. Let us show them what the Eye of the Tiger is. And still to this day, that song comes on the radio, it comes on the TV, and it transports me back to that day. And it was such an amazing day to lift the cup. It was I've got Andy Stavry there on the right, who was coaching, who coached, and Nick Gaffer, the manager. But Andy Stavry, I'm still coaching with today. I've done for years for Pantel and Monia and the Pantel boys. But yeah, that was a great team. That was a great squad that
Jack,
we had.
who's the player in the top right, the extreme right?
That's Carlos.
That's
Carlos
right,
Brown.
Yeah, that's Carlos that used to play. So in that team, I think, yeah, it was myself and Carlos centre backs. Yeah, we were the Gabriel and Saliba of the time. But yeah, that's Carlos. But yeah, it was such a good. That was an amazing day. An amazing day.
Yeah, I'll keep saying this, man. Like Carlos, I see him at my gym, but we were in the same year group at Winchmore.
Yeah.
And I remember he was at Q.P.A, but he was a player, man. So good on the ball, so good.
Yeah. No, he was brilliant. No, I love playing. Yeah, I mean, I love playing with him. I love playing with all these boys. Yeah, like I said, it was an honour just to pull on that shirt every single week.
Ade, I think this might be the last one. I think.
Yeah, this is. So every year we do the memorial. We haven't had one for the last year or two. We have to organise it. So we do the Pantel Memorial game, where it's the current Pantel team against us old boys. And you probably can't see the bottom of that photo, but this is myself when I was managing, going in a slightly really heavy tackle against one of Pantel's best players at the time, a week before the season started. Yeah. I think he managed to, he hobbled away from it. But yeah, I mean, it shows the commitment that, look, we had as ex-Pantel boys that I've still got now when I'm playing football. If I'm playing football now, you're out to give 100%. If you're not giving 100%, then don't turn up, and that's what I say
Mhm.
to the kids that I manage week in, week out as well. I mean, look, we're there to have fun. We're there to forget about the stresses in life for an hour at training, 90 minutes games. Yeah, enjoy it, play as long as you can, and that will probably be my last point to the youngsters that are watching this, that are playing football. Keep doing it for as long as you can, because once you do hang up your boots and stop, you will miss it. I'm lucky enough to still be playing bit of five-a-side and vets on a Saturday afternoon. And I love every single second of it. So I'll keep playing until my body just says, nope, enough's enough. But at the moment, it's still going. And look, football's been with me since, a little child. And it'll probably stay with me until the day I die. So, yeah.
Lovely.
Excellent.
Lovely.
Right, I just want to give you one last question before
Mhm.
I want to say something. So, as you know, this is thanks for your best wishes and for acknowledging what we're doing.
Mhm.
If we were to reach out to someone to come on the show, give us one or two recommendations that'll make for good watching and listening.
Right, just off the top of my head, I think Kip would be great. Again, because he's been involved for so many years.
Kip will be on, but as you know, he's a really busy man. But he will be on.
Yeah,
I've been
I
at
can
him.
imagine.
That's a good shout. I agree.
I think Kip would be absolutely superb to be on it. And maybe one of the, I can't remember who's on now. Maybe one of the younger members of the committee. I'll think and give you a shout. It'll be good to get a youngsters sort of
Dimitri?
view. Yeah, the Midley's always, the Midley's
Yeah.
been very good, and he's been involved for a while. Yeah,
And he's
again,
involved with Olympia now, isn't he?
yeah, and so he's got the Barnet side of things, the Barnet,
Correct.
the
Yeah.
Sunday, the Barnet League view of it as well. Plus, he was also involved with us guys as well.
Yeah, that's a good
And
shout.
he's always been. I mean, he's got the history as well. So it will
Mhm.
be good to get a youngsters or a younger point of view for things as well, and to see how they see things.
Excellent. So before I go, I just want to mention something because 2025, actually, I know we've been talking about people who are no longer with us, but 5 years ago, yesterday, if I recall, 24th, you remember Goodley and Donil. Remember
Mhm.
Goodley's? That's when he passed away. And I just want to pay a little tribute to Goodley because Goodley was a K.O.P.A football man through and through. Amoniadi to the max, had
Yeah.
a youth team, was my assistant and co-manager when we were at Ammonia London. And anyone who knew Goodley will remember him as a passionate football lover. I think he must have taught most of the K.O.P.A League youngsters to drive as well. He was a driving instructor,
Yeah.
and massive, like yourself, massive Arsenal fan. So it always pops in my thoughts at this time of the year. A lot of us were really, really gutted when he passed. But one of my favourite memories of Goodley was that, if I do close my eyes and I think of him, he'll be on the touchline. And we might be losing a game, and he might, he'll turn to me and say, "Mike, there's 15 minutes left. Let's go through at the back and go for it." And we would. But that's what he was. That's what he was. So, Goodley, still think of you, my friend, and love to all his family and friends as well. So, rest in peace, Goodley.
Yeah, rest in peace, and and the same to everyone. I mean, look, we've known a lot of people through K.O.P.A that have passed away. So yeah, Goodley and to everyone else. I mean, and again, it's one of these things. You meet so many people through K.O.P.A over the years. I mean, I walk in the road and people will come up to me, Jack this or Jack that, and I'm like, who are you? And they'll know me through K.O.P.A or whatever. Yeah. But you do meet so many people, and it's inevitable. Look, people will pass away, people will pass on, and this is, I think, the downside to knowing so many people. You're going to get people that that have passed away, and it's so disappointing and sad. But yeah, God rest their soul to everyone. All of them that have been involved in K.O.P.A have contributed in one way or another. So
Well
thanks to all of them as well.
Well said.
Jack, I have one more question before we wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just imagine there's a one-off K.O.P.A League game, right? But you are in charge of appointing certain people for specific roles. Okay.
Right.
So let's say, for example, you want someone to do the halftime music in the dressing rooms. Who do you choose?
So when I'm not playing Eye of the Tiger, when you say someone, what you mean through K.O.P.A?
Yeah, someone. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Player,
mu-
staff,
mu-
whatever.
music in the dressing room. I mean, we never really used to have people
All right,
playing music.
halftime entertainment on the pitch.
I mean, that
Music.
would probably be me singing karaoke or
That'll be
something.
you. Okay. Okay. Fair
Like
enough.
a
Fair
bit
enough.
of I like to move it, or something like that.
Real to real. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about who brings the gubes? Who makes the gubes?
Look, gubes, teas, coffees, cakes. There's no one else. Melanie, Michael, Basulla, Sophie, yeah, and Andrea. And I still remember Ian Rubin used to turn up to play for Pantel sometimes, only because he knew that Basulla and her daughter Sophie would be bringing a cake that day, and they would even take a photo of the cake beforehand to show Ian, look, we've made the cake and it's ready.
You got to
for
come
Ian,
now. You got to
for
come.
Ian to turn up to play.
So forget the 100 quid in the boot. It was a cake.
It was cake. It was Basulla and Sophie's cake and Melanie's teas and coffees that used to get
Amazing.
into games.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the final one, full time, everyone gets together. You're going on a night out or an evening out, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going and who's arranging everything?
I'm arranging.
You're okay. You already got a job there.
I'm arranging. Yeah, if I don't arrange, nothing's happening.
There's a control freak, man.
No, I don't want to. I mean, this is the thing. I don't really want to. I've had enough of it. I need someone else to. We're organising a Christmas night out with the boys in a couple of weeks, and at least I've got someone else to arrange that.
Right. So who's doing that? Were they involved in K.O.P.A? Who's doing that?
No, unfortunately not. No, no, they're not. But look, we'd organised a few nights out. We've gone out of London for a few things with Pantel, a few K.O.P.A nights out. But when it comes to organising, I don't know why everybody leaves it to me. They do.
Because you organised.
It will be Jack, do this. I mean, it's like, look, my mates, their lives would be so boring if it wasn't for me. They'd be sat at home every day of their lives.
Jack has a
a wedding
spreadsheet.
planner.
Jack has a spreadsheet for everything.
Oh, yeah?
It's all in there. It's all in there.
Hell yeah. What would Pierre be doing? You got to give him a job. Give him something to do.
He could come and referee everyone, make sure they all behave.
And on that note, we're done.
Knowing some of our lot.
Well, Jack, thanks for joining us, man. I really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for the invite.
Thanks, Jack.
Bomba. Well, boys and girls, that's another edition of This is K.O.P.A Done. Don't forget to give Mike a follow on Instagram @_Del Pieri. We're on Instagram and X @This is Mappa because we do the Cyprus football thing. Good luck to our teams in Europe. Tomorrow there's Buffer, or tonight as it's going out now on a Wednesday, and then Normonia and Ike on Thursday. So until next week, boys and girls, adios.